presented by Honda. At the checkered flag event, the wheel victory lap is the drive home.
Here in Philadelphia, we've got the rubber match of a three-game series between the Phillies and the Blue Jays. Just finished an extended Memorial Day ceremony that I'm sure we'll see again tomorrow in Boston, when the Blue Jays open up a three-game series with the Red Sox. You can see some uniform personnel still making their way off the field. The Phillies are still standing at attention. There's a kid along with each Philly out on the field, so we are set back a few minutes here today. Got to have your pen and your ball out there when you get a chance to go out on a field with a big league ball club.
Yeah, it's pretty special. The youngster there with the umpires got a chance to put the umpire's mask on, and you can see all the players make it a special afternoon for the kids out on the field.
And now time for baseball as the Blue Jays try to take the series, which they can do if they pick up a win here this afternoon. A check of the Blue Jay lineup that John Gibbons has written in there today. You can see that Russell Martin's back in, but he's back behind the plate. Curtis Granderson's leading off, but he's in right field today. And he's done some big damage in interleague games in his career. And you got Hervé Solarte, a hot hitter, and making his second start of the season at shortstop today.
Yep, they're bouncing him around to make sure he keep his hot bat in the lineup today. They'll get their first look at Nick Pivetta from Victoria, BC, and Pivetta making his 11th start of the season. He was originally drafted by the Washington Nationals. He was traded to the Phillies for Jonathan Papelbon in July of 2015. He had a rough outing his first time out this month. He gave up 6 runs on 5 hits over just 1 inning at Washington, but since then he's been on fire. Over his last 3 starts, he's 3-0 with an opponent's batting average of 149. He's thrown 67% strikes, and he'll throw strikes with all 4 of his pitches. Defensively, a couple of changes for the Phillies in the outfield. No Odubel Herrera in center. Aaron Altier makes his 4th start out in center field. They're giving the regulars a day off here today, and Altier, he's a guy that needs to get it going with the bat, but he's out in center field to take care of this spacious outfield here at Citizens Bank Park.
The Phillies wake up in first place today for the first time since 2011. The Blue Jays are at 24-28. They are 4th in the American League East, 12 back of the division leaders, the Red Sox, who they will see tomorrow. There's Gabe Kapler, the first-year manager of the Phillies, and whether you consider them to be ahead of schedule or not, they are good. They are young and talented and feeling good about themselves. And Gabe Kapler from day one has said he expects this team to be a playoff team this year. Long way to go. That Washington club is going to get healthier. They've got a ton of talent. Should be some good divisional races in all 3 divisions in the National League. Here he is, Nick Pivetta. And the first pitch fastball runs outside, ball 1 to Curtis Granderson. Granderson hitting .235 on the season. As a leadoff hitter, he's got an on-base percentage of .387. There's that 95-mile-an-hour fastball that we are going to see a lot of. Shift on with Franco alone on the left side of the infield. And Strike two called, says home plate umpire Tim Timmons.
Yeah, if you were going to build a pitcher, you would take Nick Pavetta's body and say, okay, this is what I want in an ideal pitcher. He's 6'5", he's trim, he's got long arms and long legs, and really drives toward home plate. He throws 4 pitches, as Dan mentioned, and he pitched for the Canadian Junior National Team for a couple of years. In 2010, he was a teammate of Dalton Pompey in the World Junior Championships in Thunder Bay.
And he gives up a base hit to Curtis Granderson to get it started.
Mentioned Pavetta was on a real hot streak coming into this game, 3-0 in his last 3 starts, and he'll give you a good solid mix of pitches. Almost 60% of the time he's going to throw you a fastball. He's got a very good curveball and a slider, and he can throw both of those pitches for strikes in any count. We'll see that this afternoon, and it might be a hitter count 2-0, 2-1, and he's still going to come with a curveball and a slider from time to time.
A graduate of Lambrick Park High School in Victoria in 2011, attended New Mexico Junior College. Asked him a couple of days ago, you ever play hockey? He said, no. Basketball, because he's a big kid. He said, a little. He said, but it was always baseball for me, and even within baseball, it was always pitching. He always wanted to be a pitcher. Here's Josh Donaldson getting his first look at Pavetta.
Yeah, there's only 2 hitters in the Blue Jays lineup that have faced Pavetta in the past, Curtis Granderson and Yannervis Solarte, both having spent time in the National League.
There's a breaking ball, swing and a miss, and he's out in front of Donaldson, 0-2.
The Phillies began this homestand playing the Atlanta Braves Monday night. Pavetta was on the mound, and he was great. 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. That's really set the tone for the Phillies as they won that series 2-1. And they are in first place, as Dan mentioned.
Crazy scheduling. The Phillies have already played 4 series against the Braves, and Pavetta started in all 4 of them. 4 of his 10 starts this year have come against Atlanta. And even more, and this is just statistically quirky, he faced the same pitcher in all 4 games, Mike Fulton-Nevich. So he's probably glad just to be seeing somebody else here today.
Well, of course, the schedule makers knew that neither one of these teams was going to be in contention, so they scheduled them early to get him out of the way.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Drops down a little bit, and a breaking ball gets Donaldson.
Well, we mentioned that Pavetta had a terrible start to begin the month of May against Washington, but after that he faced the Giants, the Orioles, and the Atlanta Braves and put up stellar numbers. 3-0 ERA, under a half a run a game, 2 walks, and 25 strikeouts. And that's what's impressive about the power pitchers nowadays, how they will strike out a lot of guys, but they don't give you any walks, no encouragement whatsoever.
Glances over his left shoulder with the base runner Granderson. We're just underway here in Philadelphia. And Justin Smoke will take a little bit outside, ball 1. Smoke hitting .250 on the season, 7 homers. The 7th home run came on Friday night here in Philadelphia as part of a 6-5 Blue Jays win. When we were on our way to the ballpark this morning, it didn't look that promising that there would be a baseball game today, but things have gotten better. There's no rain right now. The tarp was on this morning. The lights are on. It's cloudy, but there is no rain at the moment. There is talk of rain later in the afternoon, but hopefully after this game is already over. Swing and a miss, 2-1. I'm sure the Blue Jays have gone and watched some video of Pavetta, those who haven't seen him, but it's always different to be out there and getting a chance to see somebody face to face for the first time.
Yeah, I know for sure he pitched 1 game against the Blue Jays in spring training where he came out and he threw, and you could see physically he's imposing. And I talked to Greg Hamilton today. He was in the Dominican Republic. Hamilton is the manager of the junior national team, and he's the GM of that whole program, and he had Pavetta as a 16-year-old. Saw him pitching in Victoria and liked him immediately. I said, what'd you like about him? He said, first of all, his size. He was big, tall. He was 6'5" when he was 16. And he had a good delivery, had a good sinker. And he said right away we knew that he'd be somebody that would help our program, and he signed him right up.
And Pivetta, as he throws one away, throws it past the first baseman Santana. And Granderson's going to make the turn, and he's on his way to third. So Pivetta will wait for the official scoring. Presumably the error will be on Pivetta. Two-base error that brings Granderson around to third.
Rick Granitz, the pitching coach, probably trying to encourage Pivetta, hey, focus on the hitter. Granderson's not a threat to run. He makes a terrible throw here that Santana can't even reach for. And then look at Granderson looking at Luis Rivera, immediately not wanting to see where the ball was, but he goes to look at the third base coach, and Rivera waved him over to third.
So E1, and how about this? They're going to bring the infield in the first inning. You don't see that often, as Smoke takes outside a full count.
That's a result of Jay Happ. Jay's been pitching so well that the thought is that runs are going to be tough to come by, and Philly hasn't scored an awful lot of runs to begin with.
And Hervis Solarte, the on-deck hitter. The Blue Jays looking for the early lead, and they won't get it on this at bat as a curveball strikes out Smoke. 2 down.
Yeah, we mentioned that Pivetta is not going to give you those fastballs in fastball counts, and he's always going to be thinking about polishing off a hitter with a breaking ball. It's a terrific curveball that gets Smoke. And of course, Smoke with a guy at third base is thinking about just get it in the air, just hit it to the outfield, but he swings right through it for the second strikeout for Pivetta.
So now, of course, the infielder is going to back up, and the batter will be on Hervis Solarte. Switch hitter batting from the left side against the right-hander Pivetta. And getting his second start of the season at shortstop today after Russell Martin was in that spot in yesterday's game. Solarte made 24 starts at shortstop for the Padres last year and has made a total of 27 starts at short in his big league career. That are working from the stretch, and another swing and a miss at a breaking ball. He's got them chasing right now.
Yeah, Andrew Knapp getting the start behind the plate, calls for that breaking ball, and recognizes the only place that he's going to have trouble would be if that ball's in the dirt. So he thinks about getting down quickly, and he does, to keep Granderson there at third base.
The 0-2. Check swing on a high fastball, and the catcher Knapp is racing off the field, not even thinking appeal, thinking it was a swing at the plate. Not only wasn't it a swing at the plate, the appeal was denied as well.
Yeah, he actually sprinted, as you said. He took off for the dugout. Watch the catcher, how quickly he reacts. Yeah, we got him. Oh, no, sorry, Mr. Umpire.
He must have had a couple of cups of coffee before he suited up today. He was raring to go. They're still here. A ball and 2 strikes. I don't think he was trying to show anybody up. He was just excited and thought it was a swing.
He thought it was strike 3, and they were going to strand a base runner at third.
It's a tough combo, that fastball up above the belt and then the breaking balls down below the knees.
What makes it so tough is it comes from the same release point, and Pivetta, with his big 6'5" frame, creates a challenging angle, but when he throws the fastball and then the curveball coming out of the same slot, it's very challenging to recognize the hook.
Popped him up into shallow right field for the second baseman Hernandez, and Pivetta pitches around his own throwing error to get out of it as the Blue Jays leave a man on at third. Jay Happ to the mound when we come back. 29-20 on the season, a half game ahead of the Atlanta Braves, who are currently leading the Red Sox up in Boston. Here's a look at the Phillies lineup right now. Cesar Hernandez, maybe not that much of a household name, but a really solid player. A little pop, very good on base percentage. He'll lead it off. And Carlos Santana is a guy the Blue Jays have seen a lot of from his time with Cleveland.
So Santana knows all about the Blue Jays starter Jay Happ. They have faced one another a lot, and Jay is really throwing the ball very well. The last 2 times out, we mentioned 14 innings, 5 hits allowed. And he hasn't walked many guys, just 3 walks and 15 strikeouts. For the season, this is his 11th start. His ERA just under 4. And the walks have been minimal for Happ. 71 strikeouts, 16 walks, and he throws the 4th most fastballs in the major leagues. He'll come at you with the heater, and he's really developed the ability to locate that fastball very well.
35 years of age, and began his major league career with the Phillies in 2007. As Hernandez looks at a fastball in for a strike. 269, 6 homers, switch hitter. This is his strong side. Hitting .333, 15 for 45 against lefties. And a high fly ball to right center field, but it is playable for Kevin Pillar.
Well, Kevin Pillar's back in the outfield for the Blue Jays. He had his first day off yesterday. It's Smith, Pillar, and Granderson in the outfield, and Devin Travis is back at second base, making his 20th start. Devin needs to get on a little bit of a roll, and he would like to get some regular playing time. With that comes regular at bats, and that will get him going a little bit. He's had a disappointing start to his season, including a demotion to AAA Buffalo.
Well, it makes it tough on him when he's not in the lineup. He's a one-position guy. He's not a utility infielder who can spot in for any one of a number of people. So it's second base or nothing right now for Travis, as Hoskins takes a knee-high fastball for his strike. Rhys Hoskins, the big left fielder, 246 home runs. No score, bottom of the first here in the rubber match between the Blue Jays and Phillies at Citizens Bank Park. And Happ's doing what Happ does, coming right at him with a fastball.
Yeah, and you know, you talk about all pitchers say, well, I need to cut it, I need to change up, I need a curveball, but Jay Happ needs to locate his pitches, and he does that very well. His numbers against his former team are impressive over 4 career starts. Jay spent 4 years with the Phillies and was actually the second in the Rookie of the Year voting in 2009.
Has a World Series ring from his time with the Phillies back in 2008. He was just a rookie then. He made 1 appearance in the National League Championship Series, but he's got a ring. He was a starter for them for most of the 2009 season, and then was traded to Houston in 2010 in a deal that brought Roy Oswalt back to the Phillies. Phillies had an unbelievable rotation back in those days. Happ's also been, of course, with Seattle and Pittsburgh, in addition to this, now his second stint with the Blue Jays.
He's just one of 4 Phillies from that 2008 World Series team that are still playing. Chase Utley, Cole Hamels, and Ryan Madsen, a reliever with the Nationals.
Those were some great Phillies teams. Swing and a miss, and a ball in on his hands. 2 down. Well, back in 2009, as a member of the Phillies, Jay Happ pitched at Rogers Center.
Kevin Pillar for the Blue Jays with a swing and a miss at a fastball, and gets him again for a second time. Adam Lynn goes wailing away at that fastball, but Jay's always been a guy that thought he had to be perfect to be effective, and then he saw Kershaw a couple of years ago and watched him closely and said, you know what, I just need to be more aggressive. Hitting is very hard, and you can see he gets into the at bat very quickly with a first pitch strike to Franco.
He also had hair back then in 2009.
I wasn't going to mention the hair thing.
Franco, the third baseman, with 2 outs and the bases empty. It was Franco who hit a home run in yesterday's game. That was off Jaime Garcia. It was Nick Williams who homered late in the game off Joe Biagini. It's going to be a tricky play, and in time, Donaldson making a long, strong throw to get him, and Happ gets the Phillies in order. big leagues. Of course, the Blue Jays know all about James Paxton. What a great year he's on to, hitting the Jays recently. You're watching Nick Pivetta today. And Mike Soroka, a young man from Calgary who's currently on the DL with a little bit of shoulder trouble, not considered to be that serious, but one of the top pitching prospects in the game.
Yeah, Soroka is a very good young pitcher, and right now they expect him to start a rehab very soon and get back into that rotation for the Braves. But Pivetta, Paxton, and Soroka, the three Canadian starting pitchers on rosters right now.
There's Kevin Pillar back in there today after getting his first day off yesterday. He wound up pinch hitting late in the game but didn't start the game for the first time. Gets a fastball and he fouls it back. After Pillar, it'll be Russell Martin, who's back behind the plate today, and then Dwight Smith Jr.
Kevin had a double in his first at bat on Friday night and drove in a run. That snapped an 0 for 19 for Pillar.
Wow, what a pick down at third by Franco. Second time we've seen him make a play like that in this series. That ball was hit like a rocket.
A terrific play, and it looked like he just got off to the side. And you know what? I don't care who you are. Defenders love to take a hit away from an opposing batter, and that's exactly what Franco did right there. Makes a nice strong throw over to Santana. But he plays it off to the side, and he shows his quick hands, and he has the ability to make that play. We've seen him make a couple of plays like that in this series.
Pivetta gives him a thank you from the mound. Great play by Franco. And with one down, now Russell Martin, who drove in the only run of the day for the Blue Jays yesterday. That's when he broke up Aaron Nola's no-hit attempt with that base hit through the left side in the 7th inning. Martin met with the media after the game to talk about the whole shortstop experience and said if Gibby put him out there every day, he would play there every day, but he doesn't want people to infer from that he doesn't want to catch anymore. It's just always been a dream of his to play shortstop at the major league level.
Yeah, and you know what? It's really a challenge for anybody to play a different position, but Russell works at it every day. He takes ground balls during batting practice every single day, either at third or at shortstop, just moves around. Make sure that if the need be, he is ready.
Takes the slider low, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pivetta was a big Blue Jays fan as a kid. This is during the Roy Halladay, Vernon Wells era. He cited those two players to me a couple of days ago as his favorite players, and he actually got a chance to meet Halladay when he was in the Phillies minor league system down in Double-A ball, and he says he doesn't really pattern himself after Halladay on the mound, but he and Roy talked a lot about the mental aspect of the game, and he's trying to take some of those things with him. Now Pivetta thought, it looks like from his body language, that might have been strike 3, but it's outside for ball 3.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that Roy really mastered in his career, the ability to focus once he was on the mound. And Pivetta reacts to this pitch thinking it's going to be a called strike 3, but it wasn't.
So the 3-2, and that's outside again, virtually the identical spot, and Martin draws a walk. The Pitch Tracker is brought to you by Coors Light, official beer of Major League Baseball.
You know, we went back and looked at the Canadian starters that have made starts against the Blue Jays over the history of the franchise, and the guy that's made the most starts as a Canadian starter against the Blue Jays, Kirk McCaskill from Campus Casing, Ontario.
Angels, White Sox.
Yeah. Eric Bedard is second. Bedard made 13 starts, and then Fergie Jenkins with 11 and Rich Harden with 10. Those are the most starts by Canadian-born starters against the Blue Jays.
And Pivetta is hoping to get a chance to start at Rogers Center when the Phillies are up there in August. Dwight Smith Jr. is the batter. Runner at first, 1 out, and now a mound visit from Andrew Knapp, the catcher. Pivetta doesn't walk many. He came into the game with 60 strikeouts and only 12 walks on the season. Barely a walk per start.
I think that was a good timely visit by Andrew Knapp, the catcher, because I think more than anything he wanted to go out there and say, hey man, those are close pitches, but let me control the umpire. You worry about making quality pitches. He hasn't gotten a couple of borderline calls in his favor to this point.
3-0. I don't see that they track the mound visits on the scoreboard here like they do at Rogers Center. We're going to have to keep those manually today, I guess.
It's probably somewhere. We just have to find it.
Yeah. Took us a while to locate a couple of things here on Friday. 3-1. Oh, there it is. Troy Clare, our director, informs us it's in right field. There you can see it. Mound visits remaining. And that's outside. Back-to-back walks issued by Pivetta.
Well, Dan, you mentioned it. Pivetta doesn't walk many. In his last 3 starts, he has been throwing nothing but strikes. And he's really on quite a roll lately. So now he's got to regroup a little bit. And this is what good pitchers do. They become their own pitching coach on the mound. Have a little conversation with yourself. Say, hey, Nick, you got to get ahead, especially this part of the lineup, number 8 hitter. And then you got the pitcher. You got a chance to get out of this inning.
Devin Travis. And ball 1. Travis hitting 157 with a couple of homers. He's 2 for 6 since his recall from AAA Buffalo. This is his first start in the series. And Pivetta goes away from the fastball, goes to a breaking ball to get one into the zone.
Yeah, and that's a good call by the catcher because he had missed with his fastball to both Martin and to Dwight Smith Jr. So call for that breaking ball. He's been able to get it into the strike zone early in this ball game. Right now, he hasn't been able to find his release point with his fastball. So that's the benefit of having 2 different breaking balls, a curveball and a slider. You can call upon one of those to get you back into an at-bat. You don't have to stick with that fastball on a fastball count.
Breaking ball again, and Travis hits it softly foul down the right field line. So Martin heads back to second. Smith will go back to first. Blue Jays had an opportunity in the top of the first, had a runner at third with 1 out, but couldn't cash him in. Now they've got first and second with 1 out here in the second inning. Two. And that one's going to get past snap to the backstop, and the wild pitch will advance the runners to second and third.
Well, I'll agree with you that that's a wild pitch, but it shouldn't have been. Knapp got very lazy on going after this ball. It's a slider. We talk about catchers, their mindset. You call for a slider, the only place it's going to beat you is to the right side. And watch how he just kind of goes after it and didn't shift out there. So now he eliminates the opportunity for that ground ball double play. But you got to make sure you get out there and block that ball.
And you can see they're backed up the middle. That's because of second and third. A base hit gives up 2 runs here. And Travis will line one into left center field, and this will cash in a couple. It's gone all the way to the fence. Martin and Smith home easily, and Travis with a 2-run double.
Well, Pavetta's been fighting his command throughout this entire inning. He walked a couple guys, and they're both cashed in by Devin Travis. Martin walked with 1 out. Smith followed that up with a second walk, and then Devin, with just his second double of the season, drives home the first 2 runs of this ball game. He got a breaking ball, and you had to think as a hitter you were going to get a breaking ball because Pivetta hadn't been able to throw his fastball for strikes. So you sit on that breaking ball, you get a hanger, and good on Devin Travis. He hammered it to the wall in left center.
And the Blue Jays lead 2-0. Here's Jay Happ, who, of course, 2 starts ago against the Mets had 2 hits and a walk, in addition to pitching 7 terrific innings.
Yeah, he was really good at the plate. He walked against Zach Wheeler, the starter, in his second at bat. He had struck out in his first at bat. So then in the 5th inning he walks. In the 6th inning he singles and scored. He had scored in that 5th inning, the 3-run inning, and then he gets his second hit in the 7th inning.
Of course, has spent a good portion of his career in the National League. He's got a total of 191 major league at bats. Just a 105 hitter, though. It came up big against the Mets. Takes a fastball down the middle, 1-2.
Blue Jays starters have done a nice job swinging the bats this year. Sam Gaviglio, he had a double here. Marco Estrada, he's rooting for his pal Jay. He wants them to see it get a knock.
And if you're wondering about a bunt with nobody out, they would do it. With one out, though, doesn't make sense. And a late strike 3 call there from Tim Timmons to ring up Happ. Third strikeout for Nick Pivetta.
See, that's the big thing about the Travis at bat. When you've got the number 8 hitter hitting in a National League game, you really grind on him to get that second out, and then you got the pitcher next, and chances are you can get out of it and strand a couple base runners. But that wild pitch changed the whole tenor of the inning.
Here's Granderson. He had a base hit off Pivetta. Got as far as third on the throwing error, but was stranded there. Well, it's got to feel awfully good for Devin Travis. The hits have been few and far between this year, and not only to line one up the alley for a double, but to cash in a couple of runners as well.
Yeah, it's been a real struggle for him, and you know what? He had a pretty good spring. He played a lot, got a lot of at bats, and he was very optimistic about getting off to a good start.
Travis on his way to third and in there without a throw on what will be the second wild pitch charged this inning to Pivetta.
Yeah, and you know what? You and I have had this conversation about Ray Fosse, the color analyst of the A's, how he wants catchers to be graded on blocks and rewarded for good blocks. And then, of course, you get a bad mark for not being able to block it. And for me, that's a blockable pitch. And if you're a major league catcher, you should be able to block that ball.
Pivetta strikes out Granderson, but the Blue Jays score a couple of runs. Devin Travis lines one up the alley at left center for a 2-run double. 2-0 going to the bottom of the 7th.
Season where the game continues to show just how much it's changed. Relievers are starting, infielders are playing in the shallow outfield, shifts are all over the place. Some teams are reluctant to throw their starting pitchers a third time through the order. Not the Blue Jays, not with Jay Happ. Matter of fact, when he sees the lineup for a third time, he is top 15 in baseball against them, and Happ says it's a balance of trying to give batters a different look while still trying to do what you do well. Russ Martin believes Happ gets better late in the game because of just how good a shape he's in. Martin says physical fatigue can affect the mental side and pitch quality, but with Happ, Russ says, you never have to worry about that. Often it's hitters who get together and share information on pitchers. Well, Happ does get with Martin and Luke Maley in game to discuss hitters and a specific plan for a third time that could be different, and it's worked. At the point where some organizations philosophically will yank their starter, and Jay Happ is just getting started at that stage of the game, Dan.
All right, Arash, thank you. 35, looks like he's 25. Keeps himself in remarkable shape. And a guy who, because he's in the last year of his contract, is on everybody's radar around baseball. Carlos Santana pops up here to lead off the second, and it'll be Smoke. If things go well for the Jays, great. They've got Jay Happ. If things do not go well for the Jays, Ross Atkins' phone, Mark Shapiro's phone, they're going to be ringing about J. Happ.
No question about it. First and foremost, he's a good pitcher. Secondly, he's a great person. He fits into anybody's rotation. He's throwing well. He keeps himself in tip-top shape, as you mentioned. And he throws a lot of strikes. I mean, there's a lot of good things about J. Happ that everybody in baseball would like to add to their team.
Here's Aaron Altair in center field today with Odubel Herrera getting a day off.
You know, when you're thinking about making an in-season addition, that really comes into play because you're bringing a guy into a situation where you've already got a good team and you're thinking about winning. So now you have to ask yourself, is this guy going to fit with our team? And J. Happ will fit with anybody's team.
Well, we don't get a chance to see everything, obviously, but from our vantage point, he appears to be about the lowest maintenance person you could ever imagine down there. And teammates love him, fans love him. He's been traded, of course, in July a lot. The trade we talked about from Philly to Houston, July 29th, 2010. Traded to the Blue Jays, July 20th, 2012. Traded to the Pirates, July 31st, 2015. Happ's already dealt with this 3 times in his career.
And he knows that's a possibility this season, depending on how things go for the Blue Jays. So it is something I'm sure that's in the back of his mind. Although the one thing that I have really been impressed with in J. Happ, the way he focuses from game to game. No matter what the previous game was like, he is locked in for the next start. You know, he went through 2 real tough starts. And everybody's going, well, you know, J. Happ's kind of slowing down. And Jay just continued to work hard and turn things around. The one start against Seattle, he lasted just 3 1/3, gave up 7 earned runs. But after that, 14 innings, 5 hits in the next 2 starts.
One against the Mets, one against the Angels as he misses down and in and walks Altair, sending us back to Jamie for an update. All right, Jamie, thank you. That means the Blue Jays will not see Chris Sale when they open up a series at Fenway Park tomorrow. They will see David Price tomorrow afternoon, Rick Porcello Tuesday night, and then Eduardo Rodriguez Wednesday afternoon. The Red Sox currently setting the pace in the American League East with a record of 36-16. In fact, it is the best record in all of baseball.
Right, and the thing that they've really done well, they've played great against the East. They are 22-10 against the East. The Yankees have the next most wins. They have 11 wins. Another thing that really plays into the Red Sox favor is the fact they've played 32 games already against the American League East. The Yankees have played 20. Tampa Bay has played 26. So they have really eaten away at their schedule against the East early in the season.
The Yankees wound up on the business end of Mike Trout last night as the best player in the game. Went 5 for 5, including 3 doubles and a homer. Scored 3, drove in 4, leading the Angels to an 11-4 win in the Bronx.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine that he is not the best player in the game, given what he does on a nightly basis.
Backhanded stop, Travis, flip to Solarte, and they can't turn 2, but they will get the lead out on a pretty nice play by Travis.
A very nice play by Devin going up the middle, and he had a very awkward throw back to Solarte, and it's pretty impressive that he was able to make a good throw and get that lead runner at second. This looked like a base hit. It really skips past the mound, and he makes the catch behind him and then has to throw back across his body, and he gets enough on the throw to get that lead runner. A terrific play by Travis.
So a fielder's choice for Williams, 2 down, and he's at first. Travis having a good day on both sides of the ball right now. Here's Scott Kingery, the shortstop for the Phillies this afternoon. And he'll take a strike. Talked a lot about Kingery over the last couple of days. A young man that is way up there in terms of how the Phillies are viewing his future, how excited they are about his ceiling. Struggling in his rookie year, as you can see right now. Getting a chance to play a fair bit, bouncing around to a number of different positions. More short than anything else, even though he's more of a natural second baseman. And he could wind up, Buck, as just kind of a super utility guy for this team over the course of the season.
This season, I think that's probably his role. But after that, they project him as a leadoff guy, an everyday second baseman, and a guy that can be an impact player on their team.
Interesting, is they got a pretty good second baseman already, but that's where they think Kingery fits best. Foul territory, right side. Travis cannot make the play. Slid over, tried to make the catch, couldn't come up with it. Appears to be okay. A good effort, but he comes up empty.
Yeah, he actually got to the ball when he slid. The ball was about glove side high, and he just slides right past it. But what an effort by Devin Travis. Granderson's not going to get there. Travis has the best shot, and he goes into his slide and actually missed the ball. It was over his shoulder. But he had such a long run. It's amazing he got there to begin with.
It's a good sign if you think about his knee, I guess, to watch him run full out like that. 1-2 the count. Williams with just one stolen base on the season. And that is strike three called, and Kingery knew it. Second strikeout of the afternoon for Happ. 2-0 Blue Jays at the end of 2.
Enter the code MBJ6189 to earn My Blue Jays points for watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage, and the code must be entered by 4 a.m.
Lots of Blue Jay fans here in Philadelphia over the weekend, and they're seeing the Blue Jays jump out to a 2-0 lead in this game on a 2-run double by Devin Travis. Top third now. It'll be Josh Donaldson, Justin Smoke, and Yangervis Solarte against Victoria's Nick Pivetta. I know we've mentioned that a few times, but for people just jumping in and out who may not be familiar with him, worth mentioning again. I'm sure the ratings out in Victoria are quite high right now. A lot of people checking in on this young man as Donaldson grounds one up the middle. Terrific stop, but the glove comes right off the hand of Hernandez, and Donaldson's aboard with a base hit.
Well, the Phillies play a very exaggerated shift on Josh Donaldson, and the second baseman Hernandez was on the shortstop side of second, and he dove back over and he got the ball, but when he dove for it, he rolled over his wrist and made a nice play. What's up? My favorite guy in the world.
How happy are you?
You are absolutely the best. Thank you.
Well, that'll happen.
My scorecard,
Yeah.
it's a mess. But that's okay.
Have
Whatever
you-
you want to do, I'm good with it.
Wow.
Okay. Now I've done everything.
Yeah. Have you been hearing that we've been singing your praises for 2 days straight? You.
Yeah.
The best.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Number one.
You and everybody else. were you messing with Donaldson before? Yes, you were. Yes, I know you were.
But he got a hit now.
Yeah.
So you got to change. Yeah, you got a hit.
You're not supposed to like us. We're part of the other team. Go mess with Crucky. This is good. I'm enjoying
Yeah, that's
this.
pretty good. Yeah.
Thanks. How
All
much?
right, pal.
How much? Good to see you.
Yeah, it'll be in Canadian if
Yes,
that's all right.
Go do your thing. You got to go. You're a busy man.
All right,
or whatever.
man.
You're
Good to
busy
see
whatever
ya.
you are. We had no idea that was coming. Honest truth. There's popcorn everywhere.
Everywhere.
I don't know what's worse, that he buffed my head or that he sneezed on your tie.
Okay.
Where were we?
I don't know. Yeah, there's popcorn everywhere. And they're going to think we did it.
I know. Meanwhile, back at the ball game, 3-2 the count on Smoke.
I would think the Philly Fanatic has pretty free reign, whatever he wants to do around
I
here,
would
wouldn't
think.
you?
I would also think there's an excellent chance our producer Doug Walton facilitated that visit. Is that right, Shake? Might be correct, he says. That was fun. We enjoyed that.
Absolutely. Close encounters.
Pivetta sets, and Smoke bounces it foul up the right side. Solarte on deck, leadoff man aboard for the Blue Jays here in the third, up 2-0. Trying to win their first series since they took one from the Twins from April 30th to May 2nd. And a swing and a miss on a fastball for out number one. J.B. Campbell's got another update. Well, this goes back at least as far as Trevor Bauer insinuating that something funny happens when a pitcher goes to Houston, that their spin rate is higher and that maybe a foreign substance is allowing them to have a higher spin rate, which allows the ball to maintain its velocity better from the hand all the way to the plate. And Bauer, I think he tweeted out something to that effect. Cole took exception. Some of the other Astros took exception. There's a bouncing ball that could be two, and it is. 4-6-3 double play, and that's all for the Blue Jays in the top of the third. about as steady as she goes in his time as a Blue Jay. And in the month of May, he's been by far the best part of the Blue Jay rotation. In general, the other guys have struggled.
Yeah, they sure have. The only other win by a starter was Sam Gaviglio, and Jay has been consistent, and he's been that throughout his tenure with the Blue Jays, and this is his second stint with the Jays. And you know what? We talk about the possibility of him being dealt away. I think if he is dealt away at the trade deadline, there's still a possibility he might come back here. He loves Toronto. It's been a great place. He has a tremendous relationship with the pitching coaches, Pete Walker and Dane Johnson.
And first pitch is hooked foul off the bat of Andrew Knapp down the line. I'm not complaining, but there's popcorn butter all over my scorecard.
Oh, I know.
And you know what? I saw him 10 seconds after he left here. He was in the deck right below us to the right, messing with some fans.
Yeah, he's a terrific part of coming to the ballpark here. You know, now I guess I've completed the Quinella because I was involved with the San Diego Chicken while I was playing. He ran me over at home plate.
You were catching and he...
Nah, he ran me over in between innings, obviously, but I was warming up the pitcher and he wanted to recreate my play.
Oh, jeez.
He was in Seattle and he says, hey, would you mind if we did that? I said, I think it'd be really cool.
The 2-1. And a ground ball to short, backhanded by Solarte, getting his first opportunity of the afternoon. First ground ball to him anyways.
Yeah, there's a lot of allergies going around right now, and I think the Fanatic, if you got a nose like that, it's a real problem. Could be fatal.
And now he's on to his next victim.
And look at the kids. I think that's the greatest thing. I mean, they absolutely just get all excited whenever he's around.
I don't know who designed the costume or why they designed it this way. I don't know the backstory, but they nailed it. You got to get the right guy in the costume to do it. But look, he's a rock star here.
Yeah. Young and old, no, for sure, and he knows how to play the crowd, really.
One ball, two strikes, the count on Pivetta, who's 3 for 16 with a double this year. And in his 2-year big league career, he is 6 for 60. And Happ will strike him out. That's number 3 for Jay on the afternoon.
Well, we talk about strikeouts per 9 innings, and Jay Happ has had his best ratio for his career, 10.83 strikeouts per 9 innings. And when you really break Happ down, he doesn't strike you as a strikeout type of pitcher. Generally, when you think of those guys, it's the Verlanders and the Coles and the Scherzers, the guys that have nasty breaking balls and all that. But because Jay can locate his fastball so well that he is able to move the ball all over the strike zone, and he can elevate the fastball as well as anybody in the game, and that leads to a lot of strikeouts for him.
Cesar Hernandez shows bunt, takes just outside, 2 balls, no strikes.
In that start against the Mets, when Jay allowed just 2 hits, no walks, and 10 strikeouts, he never threw more than 5 balls in any one inning. So you fill up the strike zone, you're going to get a lot of swings on borderline pitches as well.
And you talked about Aaron Nola yesterday and just the smoothness of his delivery, how he repeats it, which is great for a young pitcher like Nola. Happ's that rocking chair kind of guy out there on the mound as well.
It took him a while to get to that. By his own admission, he was a perfectionist, and if he had a bad side session, that would carry into his next start. And then he realized that there are a lot of pitchers with stuff that's not as good as his that were winning, and he kind of tried to analyze it and said, you know what, I just need to be more aggressive.
The numbers suggest it happened when he went to Pittsburgh. Now, I don't know if that's the entire story, but in that stretch when he got traded from Seattle to Pittsburgh in the 2015 season, 11 starts, Ray Searage, very highly thought of pitching coach, 1.85 ERA, and he has carried that over into his second stint here with the Blue Jays. Whatever he found, he has kept, and the Blue Jays benefiting.
consistent with your fastball, go to your off-speed late in counts and even in hitting counts. Pivetta has found going to the curveball at 2-0 and 2-1 counts has been big for him, and so too has adjusting. If he finds one of his off-speed pitches isn't cooking in a start, he'll approach his bullpen side session differently. But Pivetta also told me, I think it's the biggest thing that it's not necessarily working on pitches anymore, because I have 4 really quality pitches right now. Just knowing those pitches and their consistency and the consistency of their spin so that they play really well. Dan?
All right, Arash, thank you. And he's still a work in progress just because of how young he is. Still learning about himself. You can see the raw stuff is there, and he's clearly taken a big step forward from last year. Blue Jays up 2-0 here. The 2 runs on a 2-run double by Devin Travis back in the second. It'll be Pilar, Martin, and Smith 5, 6, 7 here in the fourth. Pilar will take outside as Pivetta, who struggled with his command in the second inning, falls behind 2-0. He had a much better third inning after a leadoff hit, a strikeout, and then a double play ball. And a called strike there, 2-1.
Good movement on that fastball, and Pivetta had a little bit better idea about getting on top of that fastball. That created that movement down and in and caught the inside corner.
Checked the swing on the appeal. No, he did not. He went around. 2-2. Line to first, but right there is Santana.
The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Hurry in to grab the Civic that matches your game.
Here in Philadelphia, Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, and Arash Madani. Final game of this 3-game series between the Blue Jays and the Phillies. Russell Martin walked and scored his first time up. Blue Jays up to Boston after the game. The Red Sox are getting it handed to them today by Atlanta. The Braves trying to salvage the final game of that series, and they're up now 6-0 in the 6th inning at Fenway.
Fultonevich still hasn't given up a hit through 5 innings. He's walked 3 and struck out 6.
The Yankees are also in action this afternoon. They are leading the Angels 3-0. That's Masahiro Tanaka and Garrett Richards. Greg Bird is back for the Yankees. He's driven in a run today.
Yeah, just what they needed, another good hitter.
What Gleyber Torres has done for them has been unbelievable. Torres is not in the lineup today, but he's come up and been as composed and steady as they thought he would be, and he's also shown a lot of power.
Yeah, and the guy that really kind of surprised everybody was Miguel Andujar, the third baseman. I don't think they expected him to adjust as quickly as he has.
That's 6 strikeouts now for Pivetta.
Well, the stuff is there. There's no question about that. And the Phillies know that firsthand. But he had a little bit of a rocky inning in the second with back-to-back walks, and they both came in to score. But here he gets that high fastball to Russell Martin and strikes him out. And he's got all the weapons.
Dwight Smith Jr. walked and scored his first time up. A little below the knees. The count now 2-0. Catches the bottom end of the zone there. 2 balls and a strike on Smith. Day off for Teoscar Hernandez today. So Smith's in left, Granderson's in right. Puts a good swing on this ball to right field. Williams struggling and stumbling a little bit. Finally found his footing and very relieved to have made that catch. Given up a hit. He has struck out 4, as we talked about. Some differences between young Jay Happ, the Philly, and the current version with the Blue Jays.
In 2009, Happ was 26 years old. That's him on the left. There's a Philly pitching at Rogers Center. And watch his glove. Higher leg kick than it is on the right. His hands are about waist high on the right. And look at the difference in the release point. He's much more overhand as a Philly than he is now as a Blue Jay, and that creates a little bit more deception, which has played in his favor dramatically. He was 26 years old in 2009 when he finished second in the Rookie of the Year voting for Philadelphia. Chris Coughlin of the Marlins won the Rookie of the Year that year, but Happ was second, had 12 wins that season.
Martin and Smoke coming over near the railing, and Martin has it. A little bit of a juggle, but puts the squeeze on it for the first out.
Well, when you've got good hands, it serves you well no matter where you're playing. And we saw him play well at shortstop yesterday, and he got over to the railing in front of the Phillies dugout, got there first, and then the ball starts to come back on him a little bit, popped to the top of his webbing, but he grabbed it for a second time to close the glove on that ball, and he retires Rhys Hoskins on that pop-up. Well, you get a big slugger in any ballpark and you get a chance to retire him on a foul ball. You want to make sure you catch it.
Here's Maikel Franco. You know, it's one thing that probably doesn't get mentioned very often, but another way how the game has changed, say from a lot of the ballparks that you played in that may not be around anymore, there's a lot less foul territory in a lot of these parks than there used to be. So you could get those outs on those foul pop-ups a lot more easily back in the day than you can now. A lot of them now are in the seats.
The only ballpark that still has foul territory is the Coliseum in Oakland.
Yep.
And that's a tough hitter's ballpark because a lot of those balls are caught and at bats come to an end. But now these seats have crept onto the playing surfaces throughout Major League Baseball. It happens at Fenway Park. It's happened in New Yankee Stadium. When I caught at Yankee Stadium, the original Yankee Stadium, it was 108 feet to the backstop. So you could imagine that
from the plate.
From the plate. I was petrified to let a ball get past me.
Wow.
But that was the same in Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium, the home plate was like out in an island. And there was so much room behind home plate in Dodger Stadium and in Yankee Stadium. So naturally, that foul territory extends up the baseline. So all those pop-ups that are now into the seats were still in play.
3 balls and a strike on Franco. And ball 4. Second walk issued by Happ this afternoon.
In the same regard, the way ballparks have gotten smaller over the years in the outfield, I think that has increased the number of home runs that we have seen hit.
Yeah, there haven't been many things that have changed in a baseball. Well, I should say this structurally. So of the structural changes, haven't been many that have favored the pitchers.
No.
Most of, the mound was lower. Now that's going back to 1968. Obviously, that's a long time.
The strike zone is smaller.
Yeah.
Hitters have padding. You can't throw at hitters anymore. They don't have to think about ducking and getting out of the way.
What has favored the pitchers is everybody it seems like almost everybody throws 95 these days. Strikeouts are at their highest total ever.
And hitters don't worry about striking out, where it used to be a real black mark on your baseball card. You didn't want to strike out. You didn't want to let the pitcher beat you. And by striking out, he obviously won that confrontation.
Into left field, that's a base hit. First hit for the Phillies. Santana moves Franco up to second.
Well, Santana started the day hitting 200 on the nose, and he's a much better hitter than that. He hits a good pitch. Every hit, every home run isn't a mistake by a pitcher. That was a good pitch. He threw it right where he wanted it, and Santana just stayed on it and drives it into left field for the first hit for Philadelphia.
And now center fielder Aaron Altair, who walked in the second inning. He's hitting just 190 on the season. And that misses. Oh, no, he doesn't. Gets the call. Looked like it was a little bit low. Altair didn't like it. And it's called a strike.
Well, that's a real strength of Russell Martin behind the plate. His ability to receive the low strike. That one was a ball.
Wind is blowing out to left field here in Philadelphia right now. Again, cloudy skies, a threat of rain a little bit later on in the afternoon, hopefully after the conclusion of the ball game. Get the ball up in the air to left. The wind will help it. There's a fastball for a strike at 93, 1-2.
Yeah, Jay's average fastball be right around 93. Best fastball he had this season. He maxed out at 96.1 in his second start of the year. But he's going to be 93 on average, and from time to time he'll get one up to 95, 96, but not very often. Foul tip.
Yep. And that is strikeout number 5 for Happ in the second out here in the bottom of the fourth.
We showed you the difference in Jay's delivery from 09 to 2018, and that drop in the arm angle has created some deception in his favor. And you can see a lot of these check swings, guys don't pick up the baseball very well out of his hand. When you come over the top, it's like an Iron Mike, the old pitching machine, where you can see the ball for a long time as a hitter. But once you drop that arm angle down, you tuck your shoulder in, it's hard for hitters to pick up the baseball.
Here's Nick Williams, and he'll take a little bit outside. Ball one. Lefty-lefty matchup here with Williams, who bounced into a fielder's choice his first time up. He's the guy with the great pinch hitting numbers who took Joe Biagini deep in the 8th inning yesterday. Pretty much the fourth outfielder here. Not really a strict platoon with Altair. Altair a better defensive player, and Happ all around the zone, but he's missed twice, 2-0.
Well, and this is where the Phillies are really going to focus as they get closer to the trade deadline in July. They've got enough pitching, and they've got some pitching prospects in the minor leagues, but they need some offense, and probably in the outfield. That's where they're going to look to try to beef up the lineup here.
There's a strike on the corner, 2-1.
Offensively, the Phillies hitting .237 as a team. And Gabe Kapler, he's very pleased with the way the pitching has been to this point of the season. Their defense has been a little inconsistent, and they haven't really settled on a everyday shortstop.
How good is that?
That's a great shot, isn't it? Fun at the old ballpark.
Two balls, two strikes. Happ trying to get out of it. And he will. Great run on that fastball. 2-0 Blue Jays at the end of 4. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddall in the Samsung broadcast studio. Is not only are they pretty good now, but a lot of their good players are young, controllable players. They're not making a lot of money. They're under contract for a number of years, and they may still be entering their primes, Buck, in the next couple of years.
Yeah, when you look at the core of players, that many players, 24, 25, 26 years old, it certainly bodes well for the future because they're everyday players and they're everyday position players. I think that's the biggest key. They're gaining their experience right here. We talked about it in reference to Scott Kingery. Dick Tidrow, the longtime executive for the San Francisco Giants, has always talked about polishing off a prospect in the major leagues where he's being tested at the highest level, and you've got your best coaches here. So bring them up. If you think they're major league players, bring them up and finish them off right here in the big leagues. The Phillies are loaded in their minor league system as well. They picked up a pitcher from San Diego when they traded Freddie Galvis out there. And he is a young, hard-throwing right-hander, De Los Santos from the Dominican Republic. He's off to a great start in Lehigh Valley AAA. He's 5-1 over 8 starts with a 139 earned run average, and he's 22.
Now, they had some very lean years to get where they are, as you well know. Losing seasons each of the last 5 years and well below 500. As Travis has his second hit of the game. You know, they had that great core that won the World Series in 2008, made it back to the World Series, lost to the Yankees in 2009, and then they re-signed some of those core veteran guys, and a lot of them wound up getting older and going past their prime, and they hung on to their core for too long, and it really hurt them. That's why there were some very lean years. So what's happening now and appears to be coming in the future for the Phillies did not come without some painful moments.
Yeah, and after that appearance in the World Series in 11, they went 81-81 the next year, and they have not had a winning season since.
Jay Happ thinking about getting a bunt down.
For his career, Jay's got 30 sacrifice bunts, so he has been accustomed to doing this. And Franco is really in from third.
Did you ever think about taking it off, given how aggressive Franco's being?
Yeah, I think Jay probably has that ability. If he sees him in as quick as he is and really comes quickly, then I think Jay might be able to pull the bat back and slap at it. Runner is going.
And Travis is thrown out at second.
Knapp had caught just 2 of 11 previous base stealers, and that was a low throw into second. It took one hop. Kingery hung in there, made a nice tag on Travis, who has walked off the field now.
Do you think somebody missed a sign there? What do you think happened there?
I think he was running. It was a bunt and run situation. It was a ball. Kingery with a nice tag, but I think Travis might be safe. But looks like the Blue Jays aren't going to challenge it. I think Kingery swiped at his left arm but missed his arm and tagged him in the chest, and it might have been after Devin reached second. But the Blue Jays aren't going to challenge it.
So they lose their base runner. Now swing and a miss by Happ, 2-2. And that's all for Happ, 2 down. Number 7 for Pivetta.
Take another look at the slide at second base by Devin Travis as Kingery swipes at his left arm and missed the arm, but it looked like his left hand hit the bag before Kingery tagged him on the chest. But the Blue Jays didn't see enough evidence to ask for the review.
So back to the top of the order now for Curtis Granderson, who's got a base hit, and he's also struck out. And Pivetta and especially Knapp both thought that was a strike, and it looked like it was, but it's called high for ball 1. That's definitely a strike, and it's 1-1 on Granderson. Pivetta's pace is excellent too. He's working very quickly.
Yeah, and you know what, we talked about that in reference to Nola, and Sam Gaviglio had it same on Friday, that same tempo and rhythm. You keep the flow of the game, man. You keep your infielders engaged.
Hernandez from the outfield grass on to first. Granderson and the Blue Jays are gone in the top of the 5th. Sunday Farm Report, and where else would we start but with a look at Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who, as good as he was in April, has taken his numbers to another level in May, hitting up around .430 at AA New Hampshire right now.
Yeah, and you look at his splits. Home road splits are about the same. Lefty righty, doesn't make any difference who he's hitting against. April, it was cold and damp and wet in New Hampshire. May, he's even improved upon a very gaudy OPS, and it doesn't make any difference if he's ahead in the count or behind in the count. He has truly become a very interesting minor leaguer, and everybody in baseball is keeping their eye on Vladdy Guerrero Jr.
Bottom 5, 2-0 Blue Jays, as Scott Kingery leads it off against Jay Happ. More news from the farm. Jordan Romano is starting pitcher in the Blue Jays organization. He's from Markham, Ontario. Was promoted from AA to AAA today and is starting for the AAA Bisons, and he's through 5 innings, having given up 2 runs on 4 hits. in a start against Rochester. Meanwhile, Kingery lines one into the right field corner for a leadoff double.
Happ struck out Kingery looking in his first at bat to end the second inning. Kingery had a couple of hits in the game last night. He was 2 for 3. And this is a opposite field ball that gets by Granderson. It bounces off the wall. Then Kingery is there with a double, his 10th of the season. And he's one of those guys that hits it from foul line to foul line, and he can run. He's got great speed. He handles the bat very well.
Down near the bottom of the order now, the number 8 hitter Andrew Knapp with Pivetta on deck. 2-0 Blue Jays, but the Phillies threatening to get something going here. Knapp grounded out his first time up. This is where, as you said, if you can get the number 8 hitter, it's so different in the National League. If you're Jay Happ, if you can get the number 8 hitter, then you got the pitcher next. All of a sudden, it's 2 outs with the leadoff man up. If this guy gets on, it sets it up for a much different looking inning.
No question. And then the pitcher has the opportunity to bunt, stay out of a double play. Lots of good things happen when this guy gets on. And I think hitting 8th in the National League is as challenging as any position in the lineup, because you're never going to get a whole lot to hit. And you see Tommy Hunter, the big righty.
So they could pinch hit for Pivetta depending on the situation.
Depending on the situation, they get 2 aboard. They'll pull the plug on Pivetta and send a pinch hitter up there. And they've got Herrera on the bench, and their starting catcher Alfaro as well.
Smoke into foul territory and has room. They get Knapp for the first out. Pivetta looking back to the dugout, and he's been called back.
Yeah, as soon as that ball was caught, Gabe Kapler called back the pitcher and said, we're going to hit for you right here. So it's going to be the switch hitter Pedro Florimon hitting in the pitcher's spot.
So Pivetta winds up going 5 innings for the Phillies today, giving up a couple of runs. He struck out 7 in his time on the mound. And now Florimon will bat against Happ with 1 down and a runner at second, and that means Tommy Hunter will come in at the top of the 6th. Fastball there for a strike to Florimon.
Florimon is 0 for 10 as a pinch hitter this season. And he's hit much better as a right-handed hitter, but he has only had 9 at bats. He's 4 for 9 batting right-handed.
It is cooling off here in Philadelphia right now quickly.
Yeah. Compared to yesterday afternoon start at 4 o'clock, it was hot and muggy. We had a thunderstorm pass through, but it's cooled off dramatically here. About the last 30 minutes, it's dropped.
I'm guessing Gabe Kapler is going to hang on to Odubel Herrera for a shot against a right-handed Blue Jay reliever later on in the game.
Yeah, because the Blue Jays only have 1 left-hander. So you keep your eye on Aaron Loop, and you watch where you are in that bullpen with Loop down there, and you just save Herrera for a more pivotal at bat later in the game.
No balls, 2 strikes to count on Florimon. The pinch hitter, 2-0 Blue Jays, bottom 5. And he wouldn't chase that high fastball. Happ's at 67 pitches right now through 4 1/3. 7 innings in each of his last 2 starts. And he got him. Inside corner for number 7 in the afternoon for Happ. Here's Jamie Campbell. And you know, the Rays, they're ahead of the Blue Jays right now in the American League East. The Rays are 24-26, just 2 games under the 500 mark. Had that terrible start to the year where they played their first 9 games of the season against the Yankees and the Red Sox. I think started the year 1-8, but they're creeping back close to the 500 mark. Well, it looks like Jay Happ is going to get out of this. Donaldson gives way, and Travis makes the catch at the last second. Solarte wasn't in the area for some reason, and Travis, I don't know if he called off Donaldson. They can laugh about it now, but that was a little bit more of an adventure than it should have been. Leadoff double, nothing across for the Phillies, and after this, the Jays get to come off the field. The score on the double by Devin Travis. Other than that, he was terrific. 7 strikeouts in 5 innings against the team he rooted for as a kid growing up in Victoria. Now it's time for the bullpen for the Phillies.
Big Tommy Hunter will take over for Pivetta. Hunter pitched in the opener on Friday night, faced the minimum 3 batters, retired the side in order in the 9th. 15th game of the season for Hunter, who at one time was a big-time starter, made 75 starts early in his career.
Came up with Texas, then went to Baltimore, was a starter for both of those teams. With the Orioles, transitioned into a reliever. Had a couple of really good years as a reliever, throwing the ball very hard. Was with Tampa Bay last year, Baltimore the year before, Cleveland the year before that. A lot of these guys, your 30, 31, 32-year-old non-closer relievers, they tend to get 1-year deals, and they can bounce around from team to team every season.
Well, what you can do is you can look at the makeup of your bullpen and then complement it with veterans like Tommy Hunter. And it really doesn't make any difference. He knows that he's going to plug into a bullpen. He has had a long and very successful career. Just 17 career saves. But he was part of that trade along with Chris Davis from Texas to Baltimore for Koji Uehara. It's another lopsided deal for the Orioles in their favor.
And a swing and a miss to get Donaldson.
Save big at the outdoor living event at Home Hardware on from May 16th to June 5th. Here's how.
6th inning here in Philadelphia with Buck Martinez and Arash Madani. I'm Dan Schulman. 2-0 the Blue Jays, trying to take 2 out of 3 in this series from the first place Phillies. Justin Smoke has struck out in each of his 2 at-bats today, and takes a breaking ball over the inside corner for a strike. Quietly disagreeing with that call. Blue Jays have just 4 hits in the game. Devin Travis has 2 of them, including the 2-run double that has accounted for all of the offense in the game today.
Smoke and Hunter were teammates in Texas in 2010. Smoke was a 23-year-old first baseman. And Tommy Hunter, he too was 23. Just got into 1 game. Check that. He was 13-4. But Hunter was a power starter. He had good stuff, and then he made that transition and simplified his approach. He became very effective working out the pen. They were playing for Ron Washington in 2010, and the Rangers finished first in the West.
3 balls and a strike, and that's ball 4 inside. Smoke aboard for the first time today. Well, he's not done messing with people yet, and it looks like he's got some Blue Jays fans in his sights right now.
Yeah, he's just going to stop right in the middle and block their view. There's nothing for you guys to see here, is there? The city of brotherly love.
We are going to get in trouble when folks here at the ballpark see the state we have left our booth in at the end of the game. But honestly, it wasn't our fault.
Don't worry about it. They're big Philly fanatic tracks all over the booth.
Yeah, that's true. Big paw prints. Yeah. And we have the video to prove it. It's online and everything. Solarte's popped up and grounded into a double play. Hard hit ball into right field, a base hit. And Smoke up to second on the play. Williams didn't come up with it cleanly, but slowed it down enough that it didn't get far behind him.
Remember, it rained very hard early in the morning here in Philadelphia, and we saw Williams slip earlier because of the inconsistent footing out there in right. And this time he comes up and charges the ball, almost overruns it, just gets a piece of it. Actually, it looked like it hit him in the leg. He's fortunate that that ball didn't get past him much further than that. He never touched it with his glove. He just was able to keep it there because it hit him in the leg.
And then he kind of made not the greatest throwback into the infield in his haste to try to make up for the first mistake, but ultimately it doesn't cost him. First and second, 1 out for Pilar. He was 0 for 2, a ground out and a line out. The ground out to third was a ball hit right on the screws down to third, and Franco made a terrific pick on a short hop. The ball comes off Pilar's bat hard. If you're into exit velocity, the ball, Pilar hits the ball harder than just about anybody else on the team. And there's another example, and he hits it right to the third baseman. 2 down.
He's got bad direction, though. He lined out to the first baseman in the 4th, and here he lines out to the third baseman in the 6th. He's always hit well against Tommy Hunter. Prior to that at bat, he was 5 for 9 with a home run, so he likes what he sees when he's faced Hunter. And this time he lines it right to the third baseman, Franco.
Try telling Pilar that the break's even out. Today, not today.
Now that's you hold that conversation for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Don't bring that one up tonight. All right. Hey Kevin, you know they'll start falling for you. Yeah, right.
2 down. Here's Martin, who's walked and struck out. And a lot that natural movement on that fastball from Hunter. Might have fooled Tim Timmons a little bit. Yes. A lot of glove movement there from Knapp to keep up with it, and it's called ball 1. Smoke out at second, Solarte's at first with 2 down. And a strike, 2-1.
Yeah, when you see a hitter after taking a called strike step out of the box and swing the bat in frustration, chances are he was looking for a breaking ball. He steps out and says, man, that was a good fastball to hit. Just had the wrong pitch on my mind.
Up the middle, a base hit. Smoke is going to be held at third by Luis Rivera. And the bases are loaded with 2 down.
That ball was hit right at the center fielder Altair, and Smoke doesn't run well. And even though there are 2 outs, he can't come in to score. You can see Smoke not at third, and he gets the stop sign when Altair picks it up and fires it back toward the infield. I think Martin expected Smoke to come in to score here, but Smokey gets the stop sign and has to stop at third.
So it'll be up to Dwight Smith Jr. Big moment here in the game. 6th inning, 2-0 Blue Jays. And the bases loaded with 2 down. Smith has walked and flied out.
Smith faced Hunter Friday night and grounded out to second. His only career at bat against the Phillies righty. Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, has popped out of the Phillies dugout, and he came out quickly after that last pitch. Recognized something he didn't like. Hunter's been a little bit quick with his delivery, and with that his arm drags, and that fastball misses away from the left-handed hitters. So Kranitz, in his first season as the pitching coach here, comes out and tries to help him get out of this tough situation. Pivotal point of the ball game. Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead, but if they score a couple more right here, this game could be decided.
So if you're Smith, Hunter's struggling, just got a mound visit, it's 2-0, the bases are loaded. What are you thinking right now?
Fastball. You got to look for the fastball because that's his money pitch.
There you see the base runners with 2 down. Looked like a cut fastball, but he missed down and in. Ball 3. Now you got to believe that Smith's going to be taking no matter what here with the bases loaded. Devin Travis is on deck.
Yeah, you got to have him take right now.
And he takes a strike.
Again, if you're a young hitter like Smith against Tommy Hunter, the veteran, you have to think of one pitch that you want to hit. It's a 3-1 count. Don't try to hit a breaking ball. Just look for a fastball. Good fastball in a good spot. He had a nice rip at it, but it's a tough pitch to hit down and away.
So now we'll have a lot of action. All the runners will be on the move on the pitch.
Now don't be surprised if Hunter throws a breaking ball. He's got confidence that he can throw that breaking ball over any time, and he's got a young kid up there that wants to come up with a dramatic hit. He's thinking swing first.
3-2. And that's a base hit into left field. 2 runs are going to come in to score. Smith's on his way to second. And in there safely, Martin to third on a 2-run double that makes it 4-0.
Now, Dwight Smith Jr. keeps impressing with the bat. Each time you see him, you say, wow, he hits the ball hard, and he hits it hard here. It's a fastball that's up and out over the plate. Hunter came with the fastball, and Smith keeps it fair. He was a little bit late, and that's what he should have been with a 3-2 count. You want to make sure you get a good pitch to hit, and he delivers a 2-run, 2-out single here. A terrific piece of hitting by Smith. He got the fastball. He stayed on it. And then he hustles into second. He'll be credited with a double on that and 2 more RBIs. That gives him 4 for the season.
And Gabe Kapler is on his way to the mound. That's going to be all for Tommy Hunter. He gives up a couple of runs on a walk and 3 hits here in the 6th inning. And Ramos on his way in now from the bullpen for the Phillies.
on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. It's the best time to find a Honda you'll love.
The Blue Jays have upped their lead to 4-0 over the Phillies after a 2-run double from Dwight Smith Jr. And the new pitcher for the Phillies is right-handed reliever Edubray Ramos.
Ramos, 25 years old, from Venezuela. He was actually signed as by the Cardinals. They released him, and then the Phillies signed him as a amateur free agent, non-drafted free agent. Travis was given the intentional walk. He is at first now. The bases are loaded for the pitcher, Jay Happ.
Happ, after a couple of hits 10 days ago against the Mets, 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts today. Fly ball right field. Williams. And that's all. Blue Jays lead and loaded, but they get a couple of big runs thanks to Dwight Smith Jr.
My dream was to play shortstop at the major league level. So Saturday afternoon, backhand play, and he made it. Martin joked after, I have a 1,000 fielding percentage. And it appears that Martin will be transitioning into a more of a utility role for next year, but Russ did say it's going to be hard to take me away from putting that catcher's gear on, Dan.
And then I think that's a big question a lot of people are wondering about. Was this a one-off? Is it a once in a while? Will we see him at third every now and again? And it depends, like every other situation involving this club, it depends. It depends on how things progress, both for the team and for various individuals over the next few months.
Yeah, you would expect that the roster is going to change dramatically after this season, no matter what happens as far as the rest of the season goes. But there are some free agents that will probably not be with the team next year, and the rest will sign for another year. So got to figure out how you can best utilize his skills.
Let's go back to the studio, get an update from Jamie. Well, we saw that highlight on our laptops here in the booth, and it didn't look good at all. The way that his leg bent, or maybe bent isn't the right word, the angle at which his leg appeared to be. And, you know, that's a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. kind of talent. Ronald Acuna Jr., I mean, one of the top prospects in all of baseball, and hopefully the injury is not too serious.
Yeah, and you know what? We saw an injury like that a few years ago with Manny Machado when he crossed first base, and it was a very significant injury, and you always hope that it's not anything long term, that's for sure.
Jay Happ back out for the bottom of the sixth. The Blue Jays now with a 4-0 lead. Rhys Hoskins leading it off. After Hoskins, Franco, and Santana, 2-3-4 in the Phillies lineup. Pitch count nice and low for Happ, 71 right now. High fly ball to left field. Smith has room. About 5 or 6 feet in front of the fence. In this ballpark, kind of like Camden Yards, anything hit to left field looks like it's got a chance to get out of here.
Yeah. Minute Maid Park. The Crawford boxes down in Houston. Anything in that direction, you hold your breath until the left fielder catches it. Like going to Fenway. Anything in the air in that direction, you keep your fingers crossed it's going to stay in the ballpark.
And there's a pitch down and in. Ball one to Michael Franco. Franco today has grounded out and walked. Happ's given up just 2 hits today. A single to Santana and a double to Kingery.
Well, you remember Arash Madani pointed out how good Happ gets in the 3rd time through the order, and that's where he's at right now. Coming into this game, opponents had hit just 173 facing Happ for a 3rd time. And we talk about a couple of things that probably lead to those good numbers for Happ. First of all, he's in great condition. Secondly, as a pitcher generally tires, he gets more movement on his fastball, and the 2-seam fastball has become a very prominent pitch for him. So now when you don't have that optimum strength that you have early in the game, that fastball starts to move a little more.
Ground ball to the right side and into right field, a base hit for Franco.
It's time to fire up your senses. Your best experience begins with Broil King. Available at your local home hardware. Here's how.
We are in Philadelphia for the weekend before the Blue Jays head up to Boston to start a 3-game series tomorrow afternoon. Make note it's a day game tomorrow because it is Memorial Day in the U.S. It's a 1:05 first pitch from Fenway. Blue Jays up 4-0 here in the rubber match of this series. Carlos Santana is the batter. And he fouls one back just to our right.
Another reason I think Jay pitches so well later on in the game is the fact that he's got a lot of confidence. When pitchers go out there in the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning, I think a lot of them have the mindset, oh, I want to just get through this next inning or 2. I'm getting near the end. I don't think Happ has that mindset. I think he has the same kind of attack mode in the 6th and 7th as he does in the 1st and 2nd.
Do you ever recall really seeing his expression change on the field?
No, I have not, and I think that's terrific. And you know, we have mentioned a conversation I had earlier in the season with David Cone, who was a great pitcher for the Mets and the Yankees and the Blue Jays. But Coney said everything a pitcher does on the mound is presentation. You're presenting yourself to the hitter, and if you don't let them in on anything you're thinking about, better off you're going to be.
Ground ball. Donaldson bare hands and throws it past Smoke, and the runners will advance. It'll go as a single and then E5, 2nd and 3rd for the Phillies.
It's the only chance Josh had to make the play was to grab it barehanded, and when he did, he threw wide of the mark at first. Just a little swinging bunt, and he grabs it and fires, and Smoke's got no chance to get into the baseline to make a play. So it goes beyond first. It's an infield hit. It'll be the 2nd error for Donaldson, 3rd of the season. He made 1 error at first base earlier in the year.
So 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. The Blue Jays obviously with the infield back. They want to stay out of the big inning here. They'll concede a run on a ground ball. Aaron Altair is the batter. By the way, the Braves have sent out some information. They say that Ronald Acuna Jr. left the game due to knee and lower back pain. That's all the information. Again, hopefully not too serious. Looked ugly. Hopefully not as bad as it looked. 4-0 Blue Jays, but the Phillies trying to get something on the board here against Happ. Altair has walked and struck out. 1-1 the count here on the Phillies center fielder. All is quiet in the Blue Jay bullpen. Franco the runner at 3rd. Santana's at 2nd. And the 1-1 to Altair. Well located. How many times have you seen a fastball right there from Jay Happ?
Yeah, and look at those pitches. Nothing is in the heart of the plate. Everything is on the outer edges of the strike zone. Russell set up off the plate inside, and Happ delivers a perfect pitch. Jay has done a great job of pitching with runners in scoring position. They've hit just 190 off him with runners in scoring position for the season.
The 1-2 down and away. With a changeup there, but he bounced it in. Well, now does he come back inside with that trademark Happ fastball to the righty to try to freeze him for strike 3?
Well, he can go inside with that fastball. He'll cut it from time to time, or he can throw the sinker down and away. You know, after that previous foul strike inside, Alter's got to be thinking that's where he's coming again.
Martin slides to the inside, and it misses down and in, a full count. On deck is Nick Williams. Happ ready to go. 3-2 on the way. And a bullet up the middle into center field for a base hit. One run is home. Santana will be held, but then Pilar has trouble out in center, allowing Santana to score and Altair to go to second. Second error in the inning committed by the Blue Jays, and all of a sudden it's 4-2.
We had mentioned earlier that Nick Williams, the Phillies right fielder, had slipped a couple of times in the outfield, and this wet turf gets Kevin Pilar. He's charging, anticipating making a throw to home. Altair drills it up the middle past Travis, and then Pilar doesn't come up with it cleanly. When he puts on the brakes trying to retrieve the baseball, he slips again, but he never fielded that ball initially. So he'd be charged with an error, and the Phillies have gotten on the board.
So 3 hits and 2 errors in this inning, and it's 4-2 all of a sudden. Still just 1 out. And the batter is Nick Williams. And after that hit, John Gibbons has gotten the bullpen up. Danny Barnes is throwing. Happ was sailing along coming into this inning. Those 2 runs the Jays just got on the Smith double in the top half of the inning look even bigger right now. Base hit right field. Altair getting the wave, and it's 4-3.
Well, we just mentioned how well Happ had pitched third time through the order, but after 1 out, Franco singles, Santana had an infield single, Altair gets a single to center. Now Williams gets an RBI single to right. 4 straight hits surrendered by Happ, and the Phillies are right back in this game.
And Pete Walker's out to the mound to check on Happ and also to buy Barnes a little bit more time. Quick conversation between Walker and Happ. Scott Kingery's coming up now. He had a double his last time up, has also struck out today. A 3-run 6th inning, and still just 1 out. Trying to bunt his way aboard, and Happ smartly lets it go foul. They would not have had a play.
Now, if that ball stays on the grass, it's going to be another bunt single for Kingery. He had one in the game yesterday, and he pushed it up the first base line this time. But once it hit that dirt, it started rolling toward the foul line. It starts out on the grass, and he's thinking, okay, if it stays on the grass, I'm good. But it trickled off the grass, and then Happ waited for it to roll into foul territory.
This is the kind of game that Kingery can play. He can really handle the bat. He's got good speed. Element of surprise is gone now, so I don't think we'll see that again, but he took a good shot at it.
Well, and he did it the right way, too. With the lefty pitcher on the mound, he bunted it up the first baseline because Happ's follow-through is going to take him toward the third base foul line.
This would be a tough guy to double up. Outside. Activity now in the Phillies bullpen as well. Left-hander Adam Morgan is up with a pitcher spot just 2 spots away. The 1-1 and a big swing and a miss, 1-2. Williams was moving back to first on Happ's motion to the plate.
Yeah, he's not much of a base stealer. He has 1 stolen base in 2 attempts, and he's not really sure of Happ's move. So he's playing at safety first over there.
Fouled back.
Again, on that last pitch, Williams took a half step back toward first when Happ was delivering the pitch to Kingery. Marlo Hale, he's responsible for the throwovers, the slide steps, the pitch outs. He controls the running game.
Runner at first, 1 down, 3 runs in. And the 1-2 swung on and hit in the air to shallow right field. Travis going out and makes the catch for the second out. So Happ's got a chance to get out of this if he can get Knapp. Well, he's gotten twice already today. 3 of the 4 hits this inning, hard hit balls. Yeah, there were errors, but they weren't errors on plays that really could have resulted in outs. Both errors added a base, but it was single and an error, single and an error. So give the Phillies really full measure for what they've done offensively here. Happ just trying to get out of this half inning with the lead intact. Change up outside, ball 1. So Odubel Herrera in the on-deck circle in case he gets an opportunity, but he will not. Ground ball to short, force the lead runner, and that's all. The Phillies, though, get 3 off Happ, and it's now just a 1-run lead for the Jays at the end of 6.
The legendary 56-game hitting streak. You can pick up to 2 players every day who you think will get a hit. If they get a hit, your streak continues. Get no hits, start a new streak. Be the first to reach 57 games and win $5.6 million.
Thank you, Arash. New pitcher for the Phillies as we go to the 7th is left-hander Adam Morgan.
Morgan had a couple of good innings in Friday night's game. He gave up an infield hit to Justin Smoke, then erased him on a double play, and then retired the next 4 in order. 2 innings, a hit, 3 strikeouts for Morgan. That was on Friday night.
Good numbers on the season for Morgan. Blue Jays lead is down to 1 as they come up here in the 7th. Top of the order, Granderson, Donaldson, and Smoke. Granderson 1 for 3, had a base hit to get the ball game started back in the 1st.
Curtis did not face Morgan on Friday night. Morgan came in to start the 7th inning facing Justin Smoke. And then faced 6 batters and he was out of the game.
Boy, good movement on that slider, and it's 0-2.
Morgan, 28 years old. He was drafted by the Phillies in 2011 out of the University of Alabama. He does a pretty good job of neutralizing left-handed hitters. That's a pretty good pitch. They've hit just .227 against him. And I think that's the one thing every general manager is looking for, a lefty that can retire lefty hitters.
And there must not be that many of them, because in an era of 7- and 8-man bullpens, a lot of teams only have one. Phillies only have one. Blue Jays only have one lefty. Hernandez out in the outfield grass, on to first for out number 1. Now Josh Donaldson, who is 1 for 3 today, had an infield hit back in the 3rd inning, sandwiched between a couple of strikeouts. Donaldson's a .440 career hitter in this ballpark, 11 for 25 in interleague games. The Blue Jays looking to see, we've seen some doubles lately, and looking to see the power Josh Donaldson come back. See him driving in some runs. He's been stuck on RBIs for a while at 16, didn't have one in the homestand. As we all know, when he's going well, he can carry a team.
Yeah, we just haven't seen him get one of those hot streaks where he's hitting extra base hits, get 2 or 3 a game, including a home run every once in a while, but he hadn't hit a home run for a while. He's a lifetime .310 hitter against the National League with 24 home runs in an interleague play.
Now he sends this ball a long way to center field, but just to the wrong part of the park. Almost, but not quite.
Yeah, if he pulls that 20 feet to the left, it's a home run into the seats in center, but he hit it to the deepest part of this park at 409 to straightaway center field.
Xianjuan Oh is now up in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. So is that all for Happ after 6 innings? He's at 94 pitches and had a stressful 6th after cruising through most of the first 5 innings. Justin Smoke, a couple of strikeouts and a walk. Came around to score after that walk. Turns around to bat from the right side against Morgan, who drops in that sharp breaking ball for a strike. Three close ball games between these two teams this weekend. 6-5 Blue Jays Friday, 2-1 Phillies yesterday, 4-3 Jays today. Took something off and it's 0-2.
Now John Gibbons' team doesn't need any close games. They need to win games. Trying to get back to 500. Started play today 4 games under 500. But the last couple of weeks, the Phillies have alternated between wins and losses. They've gone back and forth, haven't been able to put a win streak together.
As you can hear, the wind is whipping up here in Philadelphia. It's gotten quite a bit colder, and the wind blowing harder out to left field. And the smoke can get one up in the air that way. If it's not too early to look at wild card standings, the Blue Jays are 7.5 back of the second wild card spot. Seattle, in spite of dealing with a Cano suspension and a lot of injuries, Cano was hurt before the suspension, but the absence of Cano and some other injuries as well, Seattle is 31-20 and made a deal a couple days ago to get Alex Colomé from Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and they made a very early deal. You generally don't see these deals until July, but they picked up Colomé. And Seattle has been kind of stuck in the middle for the last several years. Haven't been able to get over 85 wins. You can see there's a little meeting going on in the Blue Jays dugout as to where they are in the ball game. Gibbons talking to the pitching coach Pete Walker as they look at the Phillies lineup and have this guy ready for him and have Luke ready for that guy, and all those conversations ongoing.
Full count on Justin Smoak. Low ball 4. Even when Smoak's not hitting the ball as much as he would like, he's still done a great job this year taking walks. As a very good on base percentage.
It's his 33rd walk of the season, second of the afternoon. Jay Happ still sitting in the dugout like he's coming back out.
Well, bringing Happ back out might keep Herrera on the bench, but Herrera's coming off the bench at some point. Or maybe Gibby's thinking Herrera's coming out now one way or the other, and he'd rather have him against a lefty than a righty. It'll all become clear soon.
The Phillies are trying to get Nick Williams' attention out in right field to back him up a little bit. He was playing awfully shallow against Solarte, and now he's backing up in right field. But they couldn't get his attention. He was looking at the center field and then looking at the pitcher, but didn't look at the dugout.
One ball, one strike on Solarte. Had a base hit his last time up. He's 1 for 3. He scored a run. Continues to be very productive over the last couple of weeks. Fastball got in on him just a bit.
Yeah, he is right there with Kevin Pillar in the hit parade for the Blue Jays. He has a singles today, his 52nd hit. Kevin Pillar has 54 hits for the Blue Jays.
One, two, and he chased one in the dirt. Tag applied by Knapp, and that's all, as the Jays will leave a man on here in the 7th. 7th inning stretch in Philadelphia. And the Blue Jays up 4-3. Will we see a little bit more Jay Happ? Sure looks like it.
And the Blue Jays, that is Friday, June 8th, presented by TD. When Baltimore comes to town, the first 20,000 fans will receive a Blue Jays Pride hat. BlueJays.com for tickets. Orioles Blue Jays, Friday, June 8th. Dan.
Thank you, Arash. We go to the bottom of the 7th here in Philadelphia. A lot of Blue Jay fans here. That guy didn't come dressed for the increasingly cool afternoon. And Jay Happ is indeed back out for the 7th, just to see what Gabe Kapler was going to do if he would use Odubel Herrera. And the answer is yes. Herrera is going to bat in the pitcher spot. So this way, John Gibbons gets a lefty-lefty matchup. And Herrera doesn't hit lefties quite as well as he hits righties.
Now, and you just wonder, it was going to be a long time before they could get down to Aaron Altair, where they might have used him in another situation. So they take a shot with him here.
I'm a little surprised, actually, although I guess maybe Gabe Kapler's figuring he'd face Loop anyway at some point. But you're right, in Altair's spot, I mean, he could have wound up facing Tepera or Gifford or somebody like that.
Yeah, later on, and obviously in the 9th inning, you're going to face somebody other than Loop. It's a one-run game.
And a liner to second to get caught by Travis. Herrera retired. And will Gibby let Happ go further? Well, looks like he's going to.
You see Gabe Kapler, he's listening to Rob Thompson, a veteran bench coach, strategizing how they use their bench players from this point. They only have 2 more on the bench now in Valentin and Alfaro, the starting catcher.
Cesar Hernandez, switch hitter, hits lefties better than righties, but he's 0 for 3 against Happ today. Once it foul. O is ready if needed in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. Do you think if there's a save situation, it's Tepera?
Yes, I do. I think because of the stressful save on Friday, he was not the guy they thought about for yesterday's game, but I think he'll be back in there today.
Four 3 Blue Jays, bottom 7. And the 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, got him on a changeup away. 2 down in the inning.
The 2018 Civic Type R, like no Honda you've ever seen.
And Gibby's on his way to the mound. He's already made the signal to the bullpen for O. A couple of right-handed batters due up, so that's going to be it for Happ today. 6 2/3, another good outing. Yeah, he did give up 3 runs in the 6th inning. Other than that, he was at the top of his game, and he hands it off to the bullpen with a lead. He falls 1 out short of that today, but still a quality performance through 6 2/3.
Yeah, another good strong outing by Jay Happ, and he had a little bit of trouble in the last inning, but worked out of it. Gave up a home run. Did not give up a home run. Excuse me, gave up 4 straight hits in the 6th inning, and now they turn things over to Xuan-Wan Oh. Oh pitched here on Friday. Had an inning, had a walk, struck out 2.
Facing Rhys Hoskins with 2 out and the bases empty. And he misses up and in with a slider for ball 1.
Now, that's not where you want to throw Rhys Hoskins a slider, that's for sure. He's got a lot of power. He's been in a slump now for about a month, but he's always a threat.
Better location there. Oh, Smoke in time. Smoke had to make a decision. Do I go for the ball, or is O going to get there? O got there, hitting over. Authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership, and it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. The Fanatic. We had fun with them, and others did as well. We got some changes for the Philadelphia Phillies going to the 8th with the Blue Jays up 4-3, and we'll start on the mound.
Luis Garcia finished up the game yesterday. He had a clean inning in the 9th, gave him an infield hit, struck out Smoke, and then got Teoscar Hernandez stayed into a game-ending double play. And the hard thrower, and he is in there. Nick Williams, who started in right field, is now in left field. Odubel Herrera, who pinch hit, is in center field. And Aaron Altair, who started in center field, moves to right.
And you saw 2 of them looking at little cards that they have in their pocket as Pilar takes down and away ball 1, and that's outfielders and infielders too. They're taking information out with them onto the field right now to know where they should play against different hitters.
Yeah, and it's pretty universal. We're seeing it all over in baseball, where the defenders will take cheat sheets out to the field with them just to remind themselves of the alignments.
Another hard hit ball by Pilar. Kingery robs him. Pilar could easily have 3 hits today. Instead, he's got an 0 for 4.
Well, there's another great example of why they're so excited about Scott Kingery, but Pilar has been swinging the bat very well all throughout this series. Everything he's swung at is hit right on the barrel. And that was a double he got on Friday night, and this is a hit taken away by Bronco last night. And then a couple of times today, he is lined down to third. He got robbed of that last hit. Kingery up the middle. The shortstop leaves his feet, pops up, and throws out Pilar. But Kevin's had a good series as far as making solid contact, but hasn't had much to show for it.
And you'd think, again, he hit the ball as consistently hard as he's been hitting it, you'd find some holes, but not today for Pilar. Here's Russell Martin. He's walked, struck out, and had a base hit. Blue Jays got 2 in the second, 2 more in the 6th. Then the Phillies came back with 3 of their own in the bottom of the 6th. And it's 4-3 Blue Jays, top 8 right now. The 0-2 from Garcia. And Martin chases 2 down. Well, Buck, it looks like if the Blue Jays have a save situation in the bottom of the 9th, that it will not be Ryan Tepera. He's up right now.
Unless he's going to pitch 2 innings.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did such a good job on Friday night picking up that save. It was a very stressful save, but at the same time, he got it done. But he looks like he's getting ready for the 8th.
Unless maybe O will come back out and start the 8th, and Tepera will come in if needed. We'll find out. There's Dwight Smith Jr., who's arguably got the biggest hit of the game right now, the 2-run double in the 6th inning. Rounds 1 to Kingery. And that's all. Blue Jays go in order. We go bottom 8, 4-3 Blue Jays. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddall in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Days between games. Now they're playing in the biggest one, the Memorial Cup final in Regina on home ice, and it's Acadie Bathurst, the Teton from the Quebec Major Junior League, in their way. 6:30 Eastern on Sportsnet, the Memorial Cup final, the MasterCard Memorial Cup final from Regina tonight. Dan.
One of the great events across the country year after year. Rash, thank you. 4-3 Blue Jays going to the bottom of the 8th, and Tepera's not in. O is back in, so it was the second of the 2 possibilities we talked about. Tepera's up in case O needs some help this inning. It looks like Gibby, after using O to get the last out of the 7th, will try to string this together, the next 6 outs between O and Tepera, however it works out. First choice, I think, would be obviously O gets through this inning, and then Tepera starts a clean 9th. Maikel Franco has other ideas. 1 for 2 with a base hit, also a walk today, a terrific defensive play. Wow. Little extra giddy up on that fastball by O, and Franco's going to take a seat.
Yeah, big wild swing by Franco on that fastball up and in, lost his balance, and then instead of trying to stay on his feet, just kind of gave into it. Takes a seat in the batter's box.
The 0-2. Wouldn't bite on that slider outside. That's pretty good location from O on an 0-2 pitch. But Franco wouldn't chase.
Franco homered to lead off the 5th inning in yesterday's game. It's their first run of the ball game. Blue Jays were tied up in the 7th, and then Nick Williams had the pinch hit home run in the bottom of the 8th, the difference in the game.
And that is strike 3 called right on the corner. You can't throw it much better than that, Buck.
No, and he has been better and better with each outing this season. O has really gotten a little bit more velocity, but that's a perfect pitch. I mean, you can't get it on the corner any better than that. Franco didn't like the call, but appears to be a good one.
O had that one ugly outing against Oakland back on the 17th of May. Other than that, he has really been terrific for the Jays this year. Pretty good late pickup and pretty good value at $2 million for one season.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And he's had closer's experience. I think he's a guy that doesn't care about the situation. He comes in, and now we have seen him get command of his pitches. He's been very effective.
Popped up. Solarte will make the catch, and that's 2 down here in the bottom of the 8th. A lot of times, you know this as well as anybody, with relievers, it's not necessarily stuff or even experience. It's a trust factor. Does a manager trust the guys he's going to put out there in a tough spot? And it feels to me like John Gibbons, you know, his trust has waned with some relievers, but not with O.
No, he's been pretty consistent in the way he has used him. He's used him in the 7th inning. We haven't seen him pitch a lot in the 8th inning, but he's asked him to give him an inning in the 3rd here this afternoon.
I think we're going to see more of him in the 8th inning.
Yeah, I think he has become consistently reliable in his ability to throw strikes, and that's what you want in the later stages of a game. Guy comes in and throws strikes. And of course, without Osuna, John's going to go with a hot hand. I mean, whoever steps up, and that was his message to Tepera on Friday. After Tepera had walked himself into a tough situation, he said, "Hey man, this is yours if you want it. So stick your chest out and go get it." And he did. He came up and struck out Hoskins on a borderline pitch, and then got Hernandez to ground out the end of the game and pick up his first save of the season.
1-2. Challenged him, fouled it back by Altair.
Now you're going to see him go right back to that slider they struck out Franco with. Down and away. Boy, Jaime Garcia, what an effort he gave the Blue Jays yesterday. That was great news. It was the slider, but he pulled it down and away. Garcia fresh off the DL. 7 innings, a run on 5 hits, no walks is the big number for me.
You don't see 73 pitches through 7 innings very often. Pete Walker's just gone to the phone. Swing and a miss. What a job by O. He comes in and gets 4 big outs in this game to keep the lead intact. 4-3 Blue Jays going top 9 thanks to O. By the new 2018 Civic SI. When it leads off, it leads for good.
In the 6th inning, Dwight Smith Jr. has the bases loaded. Tommy Hunter on the mound. He throws him a 3-2 high fastball, and Smith jumps all over it, hits it past the third baseman Franco into left field to drive home 2 big runs. It's a difference in the game right now, as Smith has come up with some big hits. On Thursday at Rogers Center, he hit his first big league home run. He's had a lot of big hits in limited action for the Blue Jays so far this season, and none bigger than the double he hit in the 6th.
Hector Neris is now in for the Phillies. And the first batter he'll face is Devin Travis, who's had a big hit himself today, a 2-run double back in the 2nd.
Neris is 28 years old. He's in his 5th season. And you can see he's had the opportunity to be the closer. They have gone back and forth between Neris and a couple of other pitchers here lately, but this is his 22nd appearance of the season. His ERA a little bit inflated at 4.26. Devin Travis has had a good day.
Couple of base hits, couple of RBIs, also an intentional walk. I would think that earns him a spot back in the lineup tomorrow when the Blue Jays open up with a day game on Memorial Day at Fenway Park. Of course, back to American League rules, frees up the DH spot. And you got to believe Kendrys Morales will be back in the lineup tomorrow after not starting any of the 3 games here in Philadelphia. He's in the on-deck circle right now, waiting for a chance to pinch hit in the pitcher spot.
Aaron Sanchez will open up that series against David Price. A couple of day games in the 3-game series, Monday and Wednesday.
1-2. And it's strike 3 called to get him. Leo Mazzoni, the great pitching coach for so many years with Atlanta, said that down and away fastball, that one was a little bit up, but that fastball from a righty to away to a right-handed batter on the outside corner, he thought was the most important pitch in baseball.
Yeah, and it's still that way. You throw a pitch down and away, whether it's a lefty or a righty, down and away is the pitch most difficult to get to.
Here's Morales. Always tough for a DH type, and there aren't that many of them anymore. A lot of teams rotate a number of guys through the DH spot, but always tough for a Morales type of player when your team plays in a National League park. Your chances are limited at best.
Just 1 for 6 as a pinch hitter this season. A couple of RBIs coming off the bench.
This is his first appearance here in this series. And looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th, it'll belong to Ryan Tepera, who had to work awfully hard to get the 3 outs on Friday night. Gave up a run, 2 hits, 2 walks, loaded the bases, but managed to get out of it. He's going to face the 6, 7, 8 hitters for the Phillies. Morales hits it hard but foul, 2-2. It's amazing how much incredible spontaneous joy an adult can feel when he catches a foul ball.
Hitting a foul ball.
It's amazing. It's always like that.
Go to a ball game and you say, yeah, I'm going to catch a foul ball. Then the odds of that happening are just so long, it's difficult to even envision. You ever catch a foul ball as a fan?
I've dropped 2. Tony Fernandez hit one back at Old Exhibition Stadium. The other one I can't remember who hit it. Both hit, unfortunately, both hit me right in the hands. Morales strikes out.
Another off-speed pitch, and Morales goes down swinging. His pitch, that's that splitter that Neris throws so effectively. He throws that splitter an awful lot to right-handed hitters. About 40% of the time, he uses that as a wipeout pitch.
Here's Curtis Granderson. Got the ball game started with a base hit. He's 1 for 4 overall. 4-3 Blue Jays out hitting the Phillies 7-6. And there it is again. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Again, 3 close ball games. These two teams will meet again at Rogers Center in August. A long run here for Williams, but this one will be back out of play. The Phillies are in town for a weekend series, August 24th, 25th, and 26th.
Well, the next time the Blue Jays see the Phillies, if they're in first place, there'll be a couple of extra names on their roster by then. If they're still in the hunt for the division title, they're going to add some players. They've got some money, they've got some room, and they've got talent in the minor leagues to make trades.
Granderson with a high fly ball to right field. It is gone. Curtis Granderson with his 4th home run of the season makes it a 2-run game.
That is such a big run for the Blue Jays. That extra run in the 9th inning, make it a 5-3 game. Certainly, as a guy down in the Blue Jays bullpen is going, thank you very much. That's Ryan Tepera. But Granderson, he's hit some home runs late in games that have had an impact on the Blue Jays, and that was a big one right there for that extra run.
Josh Donaldson.
All 4 of his home runs have come after the 7th inning this year, 7th inning or later. So if you're not going to hit many of them, hit them in pivotal times.
Yes.
Trying to go away, and they leave that up and in, and boy, that was right in his wheelhouse. Short, quick to the baseball. He said high and deep. Takes a look at the outfield and recognizes he doesn't have a chance.
1-1 on Donaldson. Big insurance run for the Blue Jays here in the top of the 9th. Had to cut it a high fastball, fouls it back just below us. 1-2. That ball was coming back hot.
Yeah, you talk about fans getting elated when they have a foul ball. Broadcasters, they don't have the same excitement.
No.
I don't want anything to do with those things.
And that's all as Donaldson strikes out. We will go to the bottom of the 9th here in Philadelphia. Curtis Granderson has now given the Blue Jays a 2-run lead. A little more of a cushion as Ryan Tepera comes in to try to close it. Blue Jays trying to claim their first series victory since April 30th through May 2nd against Minnesota. They are 3 outs away with a 2-run lead, and Ryan Tepera will try to close a game for the second time in this series.
Yeah, Tepera picked up his first save of the season on Friday night, and it was an effort, that's for sure. He had to face 7 men in that 9th inning. He had a couple of walks, gave up a single and a double, but in the end, he stranded the bases loaded. And he picked up the save to win that game 6-5 for the Blue Jays. So he faces the bottom part of the order in this 9th inning.
The 6, 7, 8 hitters beginning with Nick Williams, although Williams is dangerous. It was Williams who homered off Biagini yesterday. And the first pitch misses outside for ball 1. Jay Happ went 6 2/3, gave up 3 runs, 2 of them earned on 6 hits. Walked 2, struck out 8 today. He's in line for a win if Tepera can nail it down. Xianhuan Oh was terrific. 4 batters, 4 up, 4 down. Got the last out of the 7th. Retired the side in order in the 8th, including a couple of strikeouts. Tepera admitted, Buck, after Friday's game, as much as he tried to tell himself it's just 3 outs, just like any other 3 outs, that the 9th inning is not the same as any other inning.
No, it's not. And you know what? We've heard that for years from closers, even successful closers. You've got the weight of your entire team on your shoulders with the game on the line, and you just don't want to let your teammates down. I mean, we always remember Dennis Eckersley and how animated he was at the end of a ball game when he wrapped up another save, pumping that fist, looking into the opponent's dugout. And he told me many times, he says, I wasn't really trying to show up the other team. I was just relieved that I saved it for my team.
Scott Kingery on deck for the Phillies. 5-3 Blue Jays, bottom 9. And when John Gibbons went out to the mound Friday, bases were loaded, 1 out, I believe, at that time. He kind of pounded Tepera on the chest a little bit, and he said, hey, isn't this the job you wanted? Tepera said yes, and he said, go get it. Go do what you have to do to go get it.
Yeah, it's a tough job, but at the same time, if you're a relief pitcher, that's what you aspire to do. Close out games, save it for your team, save it for your starting pitcher. I think that's another responsibility that's very important for guys that are closers, recognizing, hey, there's a win for Jay Happ on the line right here.
8th pitch of the at-bat. And we'll have another one. Nothing but fastballs so far from Ryan Tepera. The first 2 times Williams swung, he swung and missed, but he's now fouled off 3 in a row.
Yeah, and you want to go with your best pitch here. You've got a 2-run cushion, so you don't want to walk a guy to bring the tying run to the plate. So you want to challenge the hitter to put the bat on the ball. Make him put it in play. Make him earn his way on.
Another 3-2. Up and away, ball 4, leadoff walk.
Now that's the last thing Ryan wanted to do, was start the inning with a walk. Now you bring the tying run to the plate. We talked about how important that home run was by Granderson top half of this inning. You've just given away that advantage.
Now Scott Kingery, 1 for 3, had a double back in the 5th. The strike. Jorge Alfaro is now on deck for the Phillies in Andrew Knapp's spot. Odubel Herrera has already pinch hit. Kingery's in the number 7 spot. Looks like Alfaro will come out next. Then the pitcher spot. Actually, pitcher spot is up in the 2 spot in the lineup after the double switch. So Herrera, remember, stayed in the game. My mistake. Herrera stayed in the game, and he is batting in the 9 spot. So he's 2 batters away right now for Tepera. 1-2 as he got him to chase a slider. On Friday night, Tepera retired the first batter he faced, and then it went single, double, a wild pitch scored a run, and then 2 walks to load the bases before he struck out Hoskins and got Odubel Herrera to ground out to end the game. The 1-2 and a ground ball to third, to second, and that's all they'll get because of Kingery's speed, but they do get the lead runner and keep the double play in order. Kingery reaches on the fielder's choice. And now here comes Alfaro.
So Alfaro is going to hit for the switch hitting catcher, Andrew Knapp. Alfaro's got power. He's got 4 home runs. He's only had 2 pinch hitting at bats. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI. But he's always a threat to hit a home run.
And he had a base hit off Tepera on Friday. There's no question Tepera has the arm for the job. Can he get comfortable, and can he treat the 9th inning like any other inning as much as is possible? Fouled off.
Alfaro had a bouncing ball base hit up the middle. He chopped the ball off home plate. It bounced past the 2 infielders into center field. In that inning on Friday, that was in the 9th inning. He got the first hit of that inning, and it would eventually score the 5th run, but that would be the final run the Phillies would get in that game.
Where is that fan? Is that above us?
I don't know, but it's coming across loud and clear.
Broken back, ground ball to third, to second one, back to first in time. And the Blue Jays will win it. Tepera will pick up the save, and the Jays take 2 out of 3 here in Philadelphia.
It's been a long time since the Blue Jays have won a series. Now the Phillies are going to look at the play at first base, so you can't have the celebration just yet. And now they've decided to wave it off, so that is the ball game, and the Blue Jays win it 5-3. Tepera with the save, Happ with the win. And they haven't had a series win since the end of April into early May, and it's a long time coming, but they got it done here in Philadelphia.
And a much cleaner 9th inning for Tepera after the leadoff walk, a couple of ground balls, including the double play, and the Jays take 2 out of 3. Time now for Blue Jays Central. Let's go back to Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddall.